Just a mess here at the through holes for bridge rectifier 1 and 2. This must be cleaned up. I am really in love with using rivets to repair through-hole damage. New bridge rectifiers soldered into place. This will clean up nicely outside with some Castrol Super Clean. Just booted this bride of PinBot MPU, and it had been a while since I got to use my special display panel that I bought from Victor, aka Dumbass, on Pinside. And this one I built to install into my funhouse someday, and I like the blue. The blue comes out better in real life than it does here in a video. You can see my DMD's not happy because it's not getting any signal. I've got this massive toggle switch to turn on the power to the LED display. Here's the MPU sent along just for checkout. Bride of PinBot, apparently got it from Kay's Arcade, and it's a rotten dog, as you can see. Doesn't need batteries. The only thing I did to it was switch out the craptastic rotten dog 0.156 header that gets installed here with a quality breakaway header. I did replace the voltage watchdog. The driver board, different story. I rolled in pictures of the mess that this thing was on the back, and I actually needed 2 tags or a bigger tag to indicate everything that I did to this board. So first of all, the headers for the GI and the power have all been replaced. C2 as is customary, C4 as is customary, C5. Now the through hole, or sorry, C11 was a little bit domed. I didn't like the look of it, so I replaced it also. I had to replace C6, which I generally don't, because the through hole, or sorry, the cap that was installed there, the legs were trimmed so close that I just could not reuse it. I installed a 1N5401 at this location to protect C11 from being damaged if the connectors are placed incorrectly. And, I also had to replace BR1 and 2, which I normally don't do, but the through holes on those things were a mess, so that if you press down on the heatsink, the traces on the back of the board would flex. So I couldn't send a board back with that kind of ticking time bomb on it, so I replaced those also. So let's get into alphanumeric test. So it's giving me these error indications because it's not in a real PinBot game. And we'll advance to tests. I'll test this rotten dog board, even though it's really not necessary. Well, it'd be a shame if I sent this back not working, so we're just going to test it. Interesting. It looks like column 8 is not used and therefore not reported. I inadvertently hit one of the coin door switches. Kind of cool. Alrighty, let's advance to solenoid test. That was a controlled gate, so it stayed on a little longer so we could see it. Interesting to see what's going on over there with solenoid 25, which is lit up. That's the motor relay. And we've come all the way back around, so let's get into flasher test. Well, let me skip that. I'm going to go to GI. And this is interesting. The blue string is always on. I'll have to check the PinBot manual and see what's going on there. Let me back up here. Let's see. Well, I'll run all the way through. All illumination. Here's the back glass body. Used in helmet. Rear playfield. Back glass no body, which is the green one. And then it skips back to Oh, I'm sorry. Now it's on front of playfield. So interesting. That's unusual to have a... Let me see if I can get help on this. Oops. Okay, blue string should be lit now. Let's see if we can get some help. That's the white violet and violet string. J120, 11, and 6. And it's F106. We know the fuse is good, and the driver is Q12. Well, let's see. Well, let me just say, the probable cause of fault, and I'll go find this. Where's Q12? Well, it's being resistant to me figuring out which is Q12. Oh, here it is. That is the, what do we call these things? A triac. These triacs never fail. So I would guess that's a 1N5401 down there, or 2N5401, sorry. I would guess that is the culprit. After that, then it goes back through to U1, a 74 LS374. So I'll have to figure that out. But we'll skip that for now. And we're going to test lamps and flashers at the same time. So the easy part, the lamps are all working. Let's see. These flashers are all working, even though they're not pulsed in numerically ascending order. And I still don't know what's going on here with solenoid 25. So let me do some research, and I'll be right back. I did a little probing around off camera, and I'm currently probing pin 7 of the LS374, which is a data buffer chip for the general illumination, U1 anyway. And pin 7 is D4 coming into the chip, and Q4 going out of the chip is pin 6. So let me move to pin 6, and you can see it is not pulsing. Pin 6 should be a direct reflection of pin 7, just like, let's see, pins 2 and 3 are direct reflections. So 2 is high and 3 is pulsing. Oh, that's because it's tied to the data line. And that pulsing is ignored by an LS374 unless the clock signal is present. Where am I at here? Sorry. There it is. So here's U1, and get something smaller. Pins 2 and 3 should be exact opposites whenever the device is pulsed by the /triac signal, which comes directly from the ASIC. The other input to this chip is OC clock, which is the blanking signal. So this one's always going to be high. And then the MPU board places a pattern on the data bus. It pulses the clock signal to U1, which then turns on various outputs, which some of them go to these triacs, or actually to the 2N5401, and then to the triac, and then out to the GI. So it is a nearly 100% probability that U1 is at fault. But I'm going to take it out, socket it, and we will see. Chip cleanly removed, 20-pin socket installed, new chip installed. And here's the old chip with my Chinese chip tester, which is useful for confirming diagnosis. Let's see if you can see this. It's flashing ERR. So this chip was definitely bad. And back on the bench with this Bride of PinBot board pair. And I did check the manual. This lamp, or sorry, this LED at solenoid 25, Q26 is the data port solenoid drive, which is repurposed to drive the chase lamps around the visor or helmet around the Bride of PinBot. So I'm back and I have replaced this 74 LS374. So let's see if general illumination is back up and running. And it is, I can already tell because I've done this a million times, but there you go. So once again, well, it's easy to suspect this triac. It's never the triac. It's sometimes is 2N5401 and it's sometimes U1. Be careful if you take this one on because those traces are delicate. So after all of that testing, this board set is good to go. Let me see if this works with my automatic custom message injector. Where did I put that? Oh yeah. Let me install that. Boy, I hate these rotten dog connectors. And let's give it some power. Got the red LED blinking. And when I press this button, the green LED will come on. And it should start advancing to the custom message. Ah, excellent. And if we watch this long enough, which we are not, it would end up saying, thanks from Chris Hibbler Pinball. Thank you for sending this somewhat problematic board set. It's been an adventure.